Welcome back to Echo Ridge and the beginning of a brand new playthrough of Timberborn. If you are not familiar, Timberborn just recently hit 1.0 back in March. So I thought it was high in time that we did a proper series here on the channel. So we're going to go straight into a new game. We're going to select the default beavers, aka the Folktails, and then we're going to pick a map in here. For those you didn't know, Timberborn is a post-apocalyptic colony builder. Yes, I know what I just said, but the only people that have survived happen to be beavers who wear hats. For this playthrough, we're going to be playing in the canyon map, primarily because I think it's a decent size, and I like the initial setup of a river just cutting straight through the middle of the map. We will be playing on normal, and since I do have a couple of games under my belt, I am going to be unchecking the tutorial. To our everlasting folly, we will call our settlement Echo Ridge. And here we go. A brief overview of the UI, just so you know what you're looking at for those in the community who have not tried Timberborn. The very top left, I can manage the settlement where there is a bunch of information tabs. Ours are notably pretty empty because we just started the game. And then we have information panes for science, materials, ingredients, water, and bad water. More on all of those later. Right now you can see that we have 130 berries in stock, and since we have 9 adult beavers and 4 children, for a total of 13 beavers who are all currently homeless, and each beaver will eat a little over 2.5 food per day. We don't have a lot of food in reserve, so that's probably going to be our first worry. You can see we do have a bunch of berry bushes here, and in 12 days time they will yield 3 berries. Not the best, but it is a good start. So why don't I zoom out and start to take a look at the map, trying to figure out what I am going to do. We have one river that is cutting through the center of the map. It looks to be clean, other than some bad water here that is heading directly off the map. We also have another river here with more bad water, so we'll have to keep that in mind. We do have a source of ruins up here, to include some underground ruins. There's also some over here. Like I said, this is post-apocalyptic. We also have some more berries, a source of geothermal power across the river and over the ridge, and another set of ruins. Plenty of metal on the map, but not a lot of flat ground. I guess that's what happens when you start playing a map called Canyon. All right, back to the most immediate concern. Let's get some berry pickers at the bushes. Here's a nice gathering flag. Notice where the range is. I think I may actually put it over here. It's a little bit further away from the hut, but I might be able to get more of the bushes over here. I'm not going to worry about it. And since I'm not going to worry about it, I can put my gathering flag here. I will start with a nice path that goes directly to the gathering flag. We'll treat this as sort of a main corridor. And I think since this side is going to be farmland eventually, I might as well get rid of all of these trees. Plus, it's rather important for beavers to have trees. Everything is going to be made out of wood. And because beavers work on paths a lot better, we'll build a path there, and then we will let them go. And you might wonder where they're getting the supplies for building the gathering flags. Well, it just so happens that the flags don't actually take supplies. Don't worry about the wooden crates and the wood and the rope. Our beavers starting off at the berry gathering flag already know what to do, and they're going to start bringing some berries in here. We're already at 6 out of 20 that the gathering flag building can hold. But over here at our lumber flag, you can see this beaver is awfully bored. And that's because I haven't told them which trees to cut down. So we go over to the cut trees button, select mark tree cutting area, and then I just select all the trees. And now when I unpause, the beaver will get to work. Your beavers start off, like here in the case of Ogimu, with a decent amount of food and water in their bellies. They're also fairly rested, but what they do lack is shelter. So you might think, well, we might need to get a source of water going for them immediately. But considering they already have a decent amount of water, I think we can start by using some of the logs and building them a shelter. We're going to go with the basic lodge that can sleep 3 beavers. But now the question is, where am I going to put it? There's not a lot of room here, so I know I'm going to end up going tall with the lodges. And this area here doesn't seem to be that great, as you can see by the all cracked ground. So maybe this is where we put the beavers' houses. With 13 beavers, I will put down 5 lodges. It's going to take them a little while, and they're going to be pretty upset that they're not walking on a path. So let me give them the benefit of said path. But the reason why it's going to take them a little while is because each one of the lodges is going to take 12 logs. So why don't we speed this up a little bit and add another lumberjack flag, especially considering we have 5 unemployed beavers. Right now we have 2 working at the district center. Consider these beavers the general builder beavers. We have 2 working here and then 1 at each of the flags. Your children don't actually work until they grow up. So to start off with, the tiny beavers just consume your food and water. It is nighttime here in Beaverland, and since they don't have any lodges finished, they are all sleeping on the ground. Morning time has come, and now beavers are starting to take the wood from the lumberjack flag and building the first lodge. I already can tell you we're going to need a lot more wood than that, and all these dead pines aren't going to do us any good, so I think I'm going to add yet another lumberjack flag back here, just a sort of temporary one, and then I will mark all of these dead trees to clear the space for us and to get us our logs a lot quicker. So we now have 3 beavers all collecting wood, but notice each lumberjack flag can only hold 20 logs. That's okay for now, considering we have such a demand for logs to build all of our lodges, but eventually we're going to want some more serious storage. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with a nice large pile, and I normally like to put all my storage things together, but this map really just doesn't have a lot of room, so I'll probably end up moving it. But I suppose for now we will put it right here. We had a beaver named Patty grow up, so we have yet another worker, and with our lodges going up pretty quickly, I'm going to put one last building in the queue, and that is going to be our first water pump. Now, water is the name of the game here in Timberborn. Everything that we do has something to do with these rivers. To start off with, the beavers need to drink water. This water pump has a maximum depth of 2 meters, requires access to the water, and as you can see as I turn it, there's a specific way to actually place the water pump. Except I think I'm going to put it here, and that way I'll be able to put another water pump right there, because eventually the one water pump is not going to do it. Provide a nice path, and directly on the other side of the water pump, ooh, I may have waited too long. As we can see, all the beavers are getting a little thirsty. Let me go ahead and prioritize the water pump in its construction and the haulers. And just like that, the beavers went from +1 thirst to -10. Mistakes were made. It says the beaver will die soon, but we're not going to let that happen. They're also getting a -25 to movement speed debuff. Mental note, build the water pump before you build all of the lodges. The good news, at least, is while the beavers are completely dehydrated, they have a nice place to sleep. But as we can see here, their need number is pretty low, and the reason why is because of that thirst meter. Whereas I thought the +1 would last them a little bit longer, by the end of day 2, they were thirsty, and the result of that is a -10 to their well-being. So all said and done, the beavers are not very happy with me right now. Just saying though, if they'd wake up and build the water pump, they'd be fine. The next morning, we have had logs being dropped off at the water pump. We still need 8 more, and if the beavers knew what was good for them, they would hurry. Up in the top right, you can see that we have the amount of working hours that our beavers are doing. I'm going to go ahead and increase this temporarily, just so they don't go to bed too early, and that way everybody can get their drink of water. We do have Patty working in the water pump, but as you can see, this water pump will only store 15 water. So we're going to once again need more storage, this time for the water itself. All we have unlocked right now is the small water tank. We need to do some science to unlock the medium. Let's get the basic needs completed first. I'm actually going to put down 2 small tanks, each with a capacity of 30, and that way I know at any given time we will have more than 1 day's worth of water for our beavers. Now, I do not like that some of these beavers did go to bed without drinking their water. If we take a look in the top left, you'll see some messages from time to time. On our 3rd day, we had 2 beavers born. Apparently, they're not so thirsty that they can't make more beavers. The reason why that happened is because I made lodging for up to 15 beavers. As long as beavers have empty places in the lodges, they'll start making more beavers. With our small tank finished, we have to select what we want being stored in here. Of course, we want fresh water, so I will select it there. I'm also going to select it on our 2nd tank, even though it's not finished. we also have to select lumber, or rather logs, over here on the large pile. Now haulers will take the logs from the gathering flags and drop them off at the large pile. And that way, the gathering flags do not get full, so beavers will keep working. Speaking of which, we've already pretty much torn up this area here. So I'm going to get rid of this lumberjack flag. We are up to 12 logs in supply. I'm going to have to plant some trees here in a few, but I need all these beavers to come drink their water first. We're getting better. We only have 5 thirsty beavers now. Old Ogamu, who works at this lumberjack flag, is one of the thirsty beavers. So what I'm going to do is pause this building. That way, they don't have any other job to do, and they can sort of sit and wait for the water. All but 2 beavers have quenched their thirst. Our big concern here is Kitrua, who is pretty dehydrated. The other beaver, Javilla, is not as much, so I'm not as concerned. And I see that Kitrua works at this lumber flag, and you'll notice that its range is long enough to reach some of these logs. So what I'm going to do is pause this one for now, and that way Kitrua becomes unemployed and will take some time to go get some more water. Now, even though they're still dehydrated because they're behind on their water consumption, notice that their bar is much closer to the normal level. And we've reached a well-being of 3. One of the reasons why it's taking the beavers so long to regain their thirst is because our water pump is barely supplying enough water for all 15 beavers. So I think it'd be actually a good idea to put another beaver to work with another water pump. We are down to 10 logs, so I am going to unpause this lumberjack flag so we can keep getting rid of all these dead trees. Our berry situation is okay, but we're down to 48 berries. I'm not sure if this is a case of one beaver not being able to keep up, if it's because the beavers are thirsty and working slower. Regardless, it's a good time to start our efficient farmhouse. I think we'll put it right here. This seems like a decent spot. Actually, there's one berry bush in the way, so I'll nudge it over. And then we'll plant some crops that can supplement the berries. I'm also queuing up these trees that are in the way of these bushes. This is nice fertile ground, and I'd like to make sure that we can use this in the future. This might be where our forest goes, where we get some of our renewable logs. Because I think this area here is all going to be dedicated to food. We'll have some storage here, and then we're going to start some industry here. Eventually, we'll expand both our trees and our agriculture to this side. I don't see any bad water spots, at least for now. I think the big problem is going to occur during our drought season when all this water stops flowing. I do not know what the water does on this map yet. We're actually starting to get a little bit of a backstock of water, I am proud to say, here in the middle of day 6. So I think I'm going to back off the working hours just a smidge. That should make them a little bit happier. I'm also adding yet another lumberjack flag up here. We're down to 2 logs, and my efficient farmhouse is not yet completed. And as you can see, we're down to 27 berries. I would unpause this one, but there's only so many trees in range. Not to mention the fact these are still seedlings, so they'll take a little while to grow. We've actually started to store more water. We have 14 in this tank and 7 in this tank. With 15 beavers, though, we might as well round up and say 3 water per day. So that's 45 water. So if a drought lasted any longer than, say, 2 days, we'd be in a little bit of a problem. For those of you curious, and the reason why I wasn't necessarily too worried about the beavers dying of thirst, it actually takes a Timberborn beaver a little over 4 days to die of thirst. Either way, though, I think we'll go ahead and build another small tank. You'll notice that I waited until we finished the efficient farmhouse. I like to build things a little bit slower and steadier in Timberborn, because every building that you put up is going to take from your logs, is going to require beavers to haul. Our efficient farmhouse is going to have 3 beavers working. Don't love that. But now it's time to actually plant some crops. Down here in the bottom left, you can see the plant crops button, and we have plenty of options. Potatoes would take 6 days, but are only drought resistant for 1 day. So when this river backs off, we'd only have 1 day before those potatoes upped and died. Whereas our carrots have 2 days of drought resistance. So I think we're going to go with some carrots here at the beginning. I'm just going to sort of fill in as much as I can over here. In fact, we'll fill in even the areas where there's no bushes. And I'm going to go all the way up to this point here, even a little further. That should be plenty of carrots. Now you may be thinking, well, what if it's too much? Will the carrots spoil? No, there is no spoiling here in Timberborn. So we can store as much as we want, and we are going to. This medium warehouse will be able to store up to 200 carrots. So we're going to put it right across from the farmhouse. Actually, if I put it here, I might be able to put another one right here. Yeah, I like that a lot. And then I'll path it. Of course, this is all good soil too. A part of me wants to move the storage areas to up here, but that is such a longer haul. That might be something we do in the future to make this area a little bit more efficient, because this fertile ground is worth its weight in gold. For those of you wondering what our end goal is going to be in this series, which is more than a fair question, in our last pane here under monuments, you can see that there's a total of 4 of them. Well, the last one, the Earth Recultivator, requires 20,000 science and a lot of materials. I think that will be the end goal in this series. With our carrots going in, I think I'm going to make a small change. You can see my berry flag is only able to hold 20 berries, and because of that, our beaver is just sitting here idle, hence the reason we hadn't been able to store up a lot of berries. This medium warehouse is going to be just for carrots. We're going to be making a lot more carrots than we are berries. But remember when I said we'll have enough storage so I can put another one right here, which is actually going to do something really sexy here in the future, because you'll notice that lines up really well. The beavers will be able to walk on this. Now, in the further future, when we start doing science, we'll probably start that in the next episode, you'll see there's a lot of different sort of platforms and even stairs where we'll be able to access the sort of second tier, third tier of buildings. You can continuously build up, but for now, as I indicated earlier, they are locked behind some science. But with that storage in, it makes a lot more sense for the gathering flag to be as close to the storage as possible. So I'm actually going to move that right next to the farmhouse. I will then destroy this one. Sorry, Alzim. We'll give you a job at the next flag. And I'll also destroy these paths. And by doing that, we've opened up even more land to plant a few more carrots. I also noticed one over here. I think that should be good. And I'm going to prioritize this construction because right now we don't have anybody collecting any berries and we're out of food. Our first carrots are only about 25 to 30% done growing. Remember, we said they take 4 days to grow. Our oldest bushes look like they're about halfway to producing again. The blueberry bush takes 12 days and then produces 3 berries at the end. We may not have a lot of food, but we got plenty of water. We're up to 26 logs, but all of our existing trees have been taken down. The next step would actually be planting some trees. Unfortunately, the forester, which is required to plant trees, is locked behind research. But we still have this giant forest here. So I think it is once again time to extend out that path. I think this looks good here. And I will add another logger here. In fact, why don't we do 2 of them? And then I'll mark all of these trees. Oh, very nice. And since these trees are still growing, I will leave one gathering flag here, but I will deconstruct the second one. You'll notice here at the beginning of day 10, we have some hungry beavers. We have no food in the stores. I probably waited a little bit too long to put down the carrots, but we only have 1 more day before some of these carrots start coming up. So I think we'll be okay because as you can see, most of the beavers are only barely hungry. Unfortunately, a hungry beaver works at minus 50% speed. Don't worry, we're about to get it stabilized here. Here at the beginning of day 11, we have some carrots coming up, which is a glove save and a beauty because our well-being is down to minus 7. Speaking of well-being, it's probably time to start putting down something nice here. And for the low cost of 15 logs, we can put a nice campfire here. Question is, where do we put it? This doesn't seem like a very bad spot. Right next to the town hall, maybe? Yeah, I'll put it right there. Seems like a nice gathering area. We'll, of course, need more paths. And then, on the well-being front, we also need a teeth grindstone, because when a beaver chips their tooth, well, it's not a good day. They come back to the grindstone to get those chipped tooth repaired. So I think I'm going to put that right across from the campfire. And then I'll put a couple of shrubs to adorn the path to the town hall. And that should help out their well-being a little bit. because the beavers do have a very long list of what will make them happy. In order to unlock the iron teeth, which I have already done in a previous game, you need to reach an average well-being of 15. And you can do that through all manner of things. One of them even being their aesthetics. They like walking by shrubs because they look nice. In fact, just because I like the samesies of it, I'm going to add another campfire right there. And then I'm also going to add another teeth grindstone. That's a nice little area. 100% beaver approved. Here at nighttime on day 11, you'll notice our well-being is back up to 0. But we've managed to eat quite a bit of our carrots. You can see that we have nothing in store. So I'm thinking I want more carrots. And that way we can get some more stored. So I think I'm going to turn all of this into farmland as well. I just need to get rid of these 3 seedlings. But they're at 82% growth. So soon, day 12, you'll see we've had our first beaver die of old age. It's one of the things I thought was a curious decision by the devs. The beavers have a relatively short lifespan, literally measured in days. But now that we only have 14 total beavers, there'll be an opening in one of the lodges, and so the beavers will end up making a baby. I guess it's the circle of life, but it doesn't mean I have to like it. Here at the beginning of day 13, we have our first drought incoming, with only 3 days remaining, which means the beginning of day 16, we'll enter a drought, so this river will dry up and our crops will stop growing. Unfortunately, as we saw, carrots take 4 days to grow, but at the beginning of the game, the drought shouldn't last too long, so I'm going to go ahead and plant those carrots anyways. That looks like a great number. You'll notice we still have not finished harvesting all of our existing crop, but it works because we've already replanted these crops that are halfway done. Now, we don't have much of an excess at this point, only 15 carrots, most of which are sitting in the farmhouse itself that can hold up to 50, but it would be nice to have some stored up. Now, the standard cycle in Timberborn is that you'll have these droughts, and they'll happen more often and last longer as the game goes. It's the difficulty curve in the game. Out of a preponderance of caution, I'm gonna make another small tank. We are up to 16 logs. Even after building our nice little area here, you can see the beavers really do love the shrubs. They're also very appreciative of the campfire, both giving them about a +1 more to well-being for a new high score of 7. And because our water pumps were pretty much chocked full, as soon as this small tank was finished, they delivered all of that water. So tomorrow, our 2 water pumps will get a little bit more activity than they're used to, now that they have open storage area. With a day and a half until the drought, you can see we've got some berries and some carrots in storage for a total of 56 between the 2 foods. Now the beavers, they have preferences of what they're willing to eat, so the berries sort of become an emergency ration. They will always eat the carrots first before they touch the berries. One of the reasons why, as you can see here, there is no berries under their nutritional goals, only the carrots. So while berries will keep your beavers from going hungry, it won't make their life better by having carrots in their diet. At long last, these trees grew up, which means I don't need this lumberjack flag anymore. It also means I can plant some carrots in their spots. All in all, I think we have a pretty decent agricultural area, and once we get through the drought, we're really going to be able to start stacking up some food. It's fun to watch during the day. Our second crop of carrots is coming up, and as they do, they replant them. So while at the first, yeah, you'll see a bunch of carrots just waiting to be harvested in the field, over time, they'll end up being harvested as soon as they are fully grown and then replanted. Oh yeah, look at those juicy carrots. Well, at least boxes of carrots. Drought day is upon us, 0.1 days. I want to try to capture this on video since it is sort of the meat and potatoes of Timberborn. And here we go. We're given the information that the drought is expected to last for 2 days. We have 121 water stored up and 50 food stored up. Now, while there's still water in the river, our carrots are still able to grow, so there are some more carrots being harvested. But you can see at the beginning of the map, the water is no longer flowing. As that happens, the land starts to go arid. Here's another great visual of the river pulling back. So at the minimum, it means that our water pumps have no water to gather from, and it will also halt the growth of all of our crops, carrots and berries. If we click on one, you'll see it's about to die in 1.9 days. The berries can last a very long time in a drought at 9 days, so we don't have to worry too much about that. But if some of our carrots do end up dying, it's not too big of a deal. We just need to plant more once the land becomes healthy again. I'm still trying to figure out what the gotcha is on this map. Now, while this is a drought, eventually we'll have bad water seasons, and bad water will replace the regular water and poison all of this land. But hopefully by then, we'll have some nice automation that reroutes the bad water. I don't know. We will see. With 0.2 days left of the drought, we have just run out of food. We still have 67 units of water left. So I have a feeling the beavers will get hungry in about a day, because right now none of these carrots are growing. We do have a whole large batch about to come in, but as it stands, there's no food. There we go. The drought has ended, and we can watch as the land starts to hydrate itself again. Which really, this is one of the coolest things about Timberborn, is its water mechanics. In this series, I'm hoping to be able to show you quite a bit of what you can do as far as using dams and levees to really maximize the water on the map. Are the carrots gonna make it? No. As we can see here, a lot of our carrots are dying off. It's not too big of a deal. They just have to go replant them. You'll see here it says died from drying out, and they go replant. Unfortunately, it means that whole growth cycle is stopped. So if you remember, over here, we had carrots that were coming up that were already at 70% grown. Well, since they dried out, that whole process has to start again. Luckily, we do have some berries coming in, although it's few and far between, but it will help to make sure that our beavers don't starve to death. I think that's going to do it for this very first episode. We've gotten a lot accomplished. We've managed to put a couple of pumps in, lots of water storage that did make it through the drought, by the way. We've got our carrot farming and berry production going. We've got quite the storage filled with logs, lodging for 15 beavers, and our nice recreation and district center helped us get to a max well-being of 7. In the next episode, we're going to be starting with some research and beginning our forestry production. I hope you've enjoyed this video and are looking forward to the rest of the episodes in this series. As a reminder, with the beginning of a new series, if you're enjoying Timberborn and want to make sure the series is as successful as possible for the channel, remember that every like and comment really does go a long way. It also lets me know that I picked a decent game. So until next time, much love, happy gaming, and I'll talk to you soon.